Hello guys, how are you? We are in Trade Talks. I'm Yassine Basim, and here we have Ayman. He's Washington and Lee University, class of 2028, and he will share his experience and journey in joining the university. Hello, Ayman, how are you?
Hello, Yasin. I'm doing good.
Can we start by your stats, GPA, ACT, all of these things?
Yeah, sure. Do you want me to go over this?
Yeah,
Um, if I talk about my high school, my academics were pretty good. Um, Almost CG, like perfect CG4. I had an SAT score of 1530. The breakdown was 800 in maths and 730 in English, reading and writing. Um, I applied to almost 10 or 12 schools, and Washington and Lee was one of the RD schools. So, yeah,
that's great. So, what about you said your GPA four out of four?
yes.
Yeah, that's great. And what's the curriculum in your school?
The curriculum was national curriculum. It isn't an internationally accredited curriculum. I'm an international student from Bangladesh, so uh, the curriculum there was pretty national, and most of the students from Bangladesh usually follow that curriculum. Uh, it if I go into more details, it's a foreign language, English, math, further math, physics, chemistry, biology, and computer science.
So, what inspired your Common App personal statement, and how do you think it reflects your personality?
I think my personal statement was, or the common as essay was, a reflection of my entire life. It didn't really focus on a single aspect, which I don't think like there's a hard and first rule on how the common app should look like. So um, the Common App essay, mine was pretty much reflecting on every other thing that I did in my life and uh, tying them up to a common perspective, which I think reflected, like, worked for me. But in case of others, it might be like one single event that had an impact on their life. But it really depends. Mine was pretty simple. Uh, I reflected on a lot of events of my life and tried to tie them up to a common theme.
That's good. So, you said you are from Bangladesh, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Did you discuss about Bangladesh in your essays, and how did you present your cultural background in it?
I think yeah, that's a good point. I did present my culture in a very detailed way in my application. I think um I think one of the part of my essays was like the state. I tried to address the stereotypes and inequalities in my country and how I address them through my extracurricular activities. That was a part of my essay. I would say, yeah. And also, I tried to integrate a lot of my cultural aspects and try to like reflect them in my essay, which I think is a really good effort. Like in case of uh, students who are writing essays, I think uh, trying to acknowledge your culture and trying to like integrate them in your application is a really good.
So, can you talk about your extracurriculars, and if you have your Common App file or anything, can you share the extracurricular with us?
I think I can go over the extracurricular activities shortly. Uh, most of my extracurricular activities were related to social justice. I tried to address the mental health stereotypes in my country, and I organized a lot of school activities trying to educate people on, educate young adults and students on the importance of mental health and how that they should be addressed. I organized a nationwide environmental conservation effort through my school club, through my school nature club. I was a president of the club, and I think that was a big part of my extracurriculars too. I had a startup, a tech startup that addressed a lot of issues through technology. So I think that was another major part of my application. I had two research, one with University of California and another with the government of Bangladesh. So these two were, I think like integrating all of this, summing up, I think these were like the major parts of my extracurricular activities in my Common App.
So, what was your most meaningful extracurricular activity, and how did it shape you?
Well, I would say the mental health platform that I built, which was also a part of my startup, I think that was the most meaningful extracurricular activity in my application. I would say so because that was a dream project, a passion project of mine, and uh, three of my friends we started that together in COVID during COVID-19, and I think it was a really time consuming. I devoted a lot of time in that, and I think the impact that we created that motivated me to go further with these extracurricular activities, and I still am working on in this extracurricular activities. I wouldn't say it's an extracurricular activity, it's a dream and passion project of mine. So I think that's the reason it played a really meaningful part in my application.
That's good. So, you mentioned later that you was a president of a club in your school, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you hold any leadership positions in any other clubs or organization or community projects?
I would say I hold a lot of like leadership positions in high school. In my high school, specifically high school affiliated clubs, I was the president of the Nature Club, which is the environment which addresses the environmental conservation efforts in our school and also outside the school. For example, I as the president of the club, I initiated the first nationwide environmental conservation effort, which included like more than 20,000 students all over the country. In addition to that, I was the general secretary of our school's technology club. We organized three hackathons during my time as the general secretary. So I think these are the two positions that I hold in my high school. But besides that, as I said, I had like two startups, one relating to technology, another relating to mental health. So I held positions in that too. So yeah.
That's insane. So, yeah. Uh, you said that you had GPA 4 out of 4 and SAT 15 out of 30 and all of these extracurriculars. So, tell us about how did you balance your extracurricular activities with your academics?
I would say everything boils down to time management. If you can, um, if you like divide your day into different chunks of time and try to maintain that would be really good. Trying to maintain your calendar, maybe uh, maybe prioritizing academics. I would say definitely prioritize academics and SAT. That would really advance you to your goal, uh, not like stressing over the extracurricular activities, and that might be stressful at times. So I would definitely say prioritize your academics and test scores. And besides that, like Saturdays and Sundays, the weekends, try to have fun too. I would say like you won't get the high school time, the college time again. So I would say definitely have fun. But yes, you can always prioritize your weekends for extracurricular activities. Um, and I would say like divide your day into chunks of time, uh, allocate time for each activity, and try to maintain that actually helps a lot.
That's great. You applied through Common App, right?
Yeah, I did.
So a Common App like give you 10 places for extracurriculars.
Right.
Did you fill all of them?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. And what about the honors? How many did you submit?
Um, Common App allows you to submit 5 honors. So I had 5 honors. I had multiple honors, but I couldn't submit all of them. I
No
think
problem.
put your like top five in the honor section, and if you think the other honors that you have, which might not be the case in a lot of students, but if you think you have a lot of honors and you cannot fit in those inside your honors section, you can always use the additional information section where you can like list out your honors. But I'll go over that in a bit. But let me finish the honors part. So basically, my honors were like I think there were 4 international honors and 1 national honor. Um, I think 2 of them were related to my startup. I won 2 startup competitions. Another one was I think a hackathon, and another was a research presentation conference. And I don't remember the last one. It should be something related to technology. So yeah, these were the five. I think I actually included a lot of like maybe 5 or 6 additional honors in my additional information section. I, as you said, like as you all know, I think if you go over the Common App section, the activities, each activity allows you to include a description, but the description isn't long enough. So if
Yep.
you want to get into more details about each activity, you can use the additional information section. For example, for my top 2 activities, I had a lot to talk about, so I included both of them in my additional section, and then continued on how to add more of those, like what I did, how I did, and things in the additional section. I included my research paper in the additional section. I included like a little bit about my research, and then inserted the link of my research paper. Not that admission officers would usually visit your research link, but it's if they do, it's a plus point. So yeah.
So you mentioned in the honors that you had a research conversation or a conference, right?
Yeah.
So you wrote a research paper. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah. So can you tell us about the topic?
So the topic was event-centric reasoning for large language models. I think this might be like a lot to process, but this was basically we included like we researched a lot of large language models and tried to find out the accuracy rates for in terms of like different prompting methods. We tried 3 prompting methods: zero shot prompting, few shot prompting, and chain of thoughts prompting, and tried to see how the large language models performed in terms of all 3 promptings for event-centric reasoning. Event-centric reasoning is some sort of reasoning technique where you try to prompt it in terms of events. So if you see like there's an event saying wash your hands, you include three to five events and try to prompt them, and try to see how accurate the um, large language model is doing.
That's good. So you made this research paper as an independent, or it was a part of a program or something like that?
It was a part of the summer internship program at UCSC, where high school students collaborate with PhD students to write the research, to do research. But a research paper is not mandatory. You just have to do the research. But in my case, we did compose the research paper, which is a plus point. Yeah.
Yeah. So you made it online or in the lab
Yeah,
of the
it
university?
was since my graduation year, when I was graduating, it was just that like it was like since it was like COVID before my graduation, it was like the program shifted to virtual, and my year, although it wasn't COVID then, it was still virtual, but from last year, like from 2024, the program just went on site, so there's no virtual program. You have to go to California to participate in the program. But
Uh,
yes, they do provide some financial aid, I guess.
yeah, I was about to ask about that. So does the program for international students?
The program is for all. International students can apply, national domestic students can apply.
That's
This.
great. Yeah. And they give a financial aid, right?
For me, it was complete financial aid since it was virtual, but I don't have any concrete idea about the on-site program. But I have heard that they provide full financial aid for on-site program too, but you have to be exceptionally uh, good applicant in the applicant pool.
Yeah, that's
I'd say.
great. That's good. So, how many recommendation letters did you submit and who wrote them?
I had one recommendation letter from a counselor who was a chemistry teacher of mine again, and then two recommendation letters from my teachers. One was from my English teacher, and another one was from my computer science teacher. These were the three recommendation letters that are mandatory. Sometimes there are like more, but I think at least is two or three. So these were the three mandatory recommendation letters. I had two other optional recommendation letters, one from a research mentor who was a PhD student at University of California, but he recently completed his PhD. So when I was applying, he was a PhD fellow at UCSC. So he wrote a recommendation letter on for me. Another one was from one of my employers. As I work for the government, like as a research assistant, he wrote another recommendation letter on my behalf. So these were the two additional optional recommendation letters.
Yeah, that's great. So, you know that students now are struggling with choosing their teachers for recommendation letters and all of these things. So, based on what or why did you choose those specific teachers or mentors for your recommendations?
I would say choose teachers who know you very personally and try to engage with them. If they know you close enough, they will be able to write great recommendation letters for you. In my case, I used to go to them, talk to them. I had really good connections with those teachers, and those teachers were knew me very personally and were willing to, when I talked to them, they were willing to write recommendation letters for me. So I would say choose teachers based on your relationship with them. I It's not a written rule, but there is something like you should choose one counselor, one teacher from humanities, and student, one teacher from STEM, if 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 that makes sense. But there is no hard and fast rules regarding that you have to take one teacher from STEM and one from humanities. It's just like they can get a greater, broader perspective of your academics and your extracurricular activities if you choose teachers from different field of study. If you take like both one from, let's say, English and one from let's say history, they might not be able to give you more perspective on your uh, broad range of persona. So if that's possible, try to take one recommendation letter from a STEM teacher and one from a non-STEM teacher.
That's really good. So, did you give them a prac sheet or something like that?
Yeah, as I say, like in my case, it was really easy because they already knew me very personally, so it wasn't really uh, a big issue for me. But yeah, in some cases, when the teacher doesn't really know you well, you can actually give them like something about yourself, like what are you planning to major, what are your goals, what are your career aspirations, what are the extracurricular activities that you do, what are the honors you have, what like, just like, I mean, like, if even if you send them their common app application, that might be a move to, or if you are not comfortable sharing your career common app application, you might just like share some of it that you think might help them get to know you better. So if you are like taking a recommendation letter for someone who doesn't really know you well, that might be a move. But then again, I would really suggest if you can find someone who knows you well enough to write a recommendation letter.
Okay. So let me ask you about your school again. How did your school prepare you for Washington and Lee academic environment?
I would say my school and Washington Lee are completely opposite. It's one of the reasons I only applied to liberal arts schools. My high school was a really big one, a big large school, and with a lot of students, uh, very high student to teacher ratio. Uh, I would say it was a mess for me. I couldn't really like interact with the professors, and as I said, I am a social person. I try to communicate with my professors or teachers in my high school. As I said, two of my teachers, they knew me really well that I asked for recommendation letters from them. But in Washington Lee, I would say it's a completely different opposite thing. The professors, each class has like 10 to 12 students, even sometimes even less. And you get to know your professors really well. Um, this winter break, I went to my econ professor's house just to have dinner because he invited me. And not that I had something like I was really close with him. It was just like we had a conversation in his office hours, and he was like, "You should definitely come to my house this winter break." So the thing is like it's really small. It's a really small school. There are both good and bad things about small school. In a big school, you can definitely like have the opportunity to navigate a lot of opportunities. But in small school, I would say there are no lack of opportunities here. But it's a small school. Everybody knows everybody. Um, you can definitely whenever you get out, you meet someone, you go to the dining hall, you meet someone, you never eat alone, and it's a nice place to be. The academic environment, it depends from major to major. If you can always take easy classes, you can always take difficult classes. It really depends on you. I would say the academic environment is really chill here. Obviously, it depends on you. If you're like doing a STEM major, it's definitely tough. Um, but in terms of like a big school, there are both ups and downs of a small school.
And what is the most thing you find exciting or interesting when you came to Washington and Lee?
I think I didn't know that Washington and Lee. I mean, I researched. I didn't research enough after my acceptance, but then again, when I came here and I realized this is a big C school. When I talk about C school, it's basically a school which has a great predominance in business, commerce, econ, and subjects like that. So I think, interestingly enough, this school has a really good pipeline for finance, investment banking, econ, probably like any finance role actually. So I think that's really interesting. When I came here, I had no plans of taking an accounting class, but I did take an accounting class, and it's pretty interesting. So there are a lot of like student organizations. For example, we have an investment fund which is completely run by students, 30 students, and it's a student fund where we invest in stocks and only stocks, US traded stocks. And I think like the currently the asset under management is $26.5 million. So it started with $1 million, and over the span of last 20 years, it grew to $26 million, which is pretty interesting. And I'm a part of the organization. It's a very competitive program. Like you have to apply, you have to take an interview, and only 3 out of 60 students got in this year. So it's a pretty interesting program. It's a pretty interesting organization. You learn a lot hands-on about finance and banking and stocks, the stock market. So it's pretty interesting. That is something I didn't have plans for. That wasn't something I was promised. I came in as a computer science major, but then again I found finance and um accounting, economics is interesting. So I'm also considering a double major in economics or accounting.
Wow, that's insane.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah. So after completing your first year, or more than a year in Washington and Lee, so from your experience, what are the things that if you know it early about Washington and Lee, it makes you apply for it early, or it will help you in your application or in your essays, anything of like that.
I would say definitely reach out to people. I didn't know about the Williams Investment Society when I applied here, but if I had talked to someone who is in Washington and Lee, because it's a big thing here, so everyone knows about the Washington Williams Investment Society. If I talk to someone, he or she would have definitely they would have definitely told me about it. So I would say talk to people, reach out to people. Uh, Research more, try to figure out which college or which university um fits your type, like your type, or you fit into that
Of your
school.
persona, yeah.
Yeah, it's never your it's never that they won't it like I have seen like one of my friend getting rejected from Kenyan college and then getting into Harvard University. So it's never like
Wow.
you are like not uh good enough for that school or something like that. It's always you have to be a good fit for that school.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I would say definitely research, talk to people more, find out if that's the place you want to be in. Um, so yeah.
That's great. So before finishing, also I would like to ask about did you edit your essays with someone from a university or an alumni, anything of like that? And what is the feedback did you receive on your essays before submitting them?
I actually did something that's of that sort. It was I did reach out to people, and it was a really good session. Like I reached out to people, showed them my essays, and I think the only feedback was, as I said earlier, I didn't like show enough. I didn't like narrate more stories enough, and it was pretty bland. So yeah.
Yeah, that's good. Uh, Actually, that was all our questions for today. And I'm so happy to meet you today. And thanks a lot. One thing before finishing, I'm so sorry for that. If you would like to share a tip or an advice for the future applicants who will apply to US universities as a general or Washington and Lee for specific, what would you tell to them, or how can you help?
I would say definitely prioritize your academics. Try to manage your time more efficiently. Try to do a lot of stuff that you like. It's never like doing stuff for the sake of doing stuff. Um, try to make the best use of your time. Definitely reach out to people. Try to understand how their experience is in that school, and do you think if you're a good fit for that school? And definitely prioritize your essays. I would say in your application, the most important thing is your essay. Uh, so yeah, from my perspective, I think definitely prioritize your essays.
That's good. So yeah, that was all, and thanks a lot. I hope you found this discussion as insightful and valuable. And yeah, as Ayman said, remember, learning doesn't stop here. Keep exploring, questioning, and reaching out to people. And I would like to thank you for your time and engagement. I look forward to seeing you in our next sessions. And if you are willing to join our community group, that would be great if possible.
Yeah, thank you so much. You can send me more details about it. And obviously feel free to reach out if anyone have any questions. You can definitely reach out on my LinkedIn. So yeah,
Thanks a lot. Thanks, Ayman, for your time.
thank you. Thank you
Bye
everyone for
bye.